All right, it looks like we are live. And we are overcoming obstacles with grace, ease, and joy. That is the art of jazz living. When your browser does not support Facebook Live and you have to quickly switch to a new browser. Hi, I'm Leah Skirdal, and I'm so happy that you're joining me here to read this fabulous book, The Wellness Universe Guide to Complete Self-Care, 25 Tools for Goddesses. I have learned so much from reading this book. It's just wonderful. And I hope that you will enjoy my chapter 7, The Art of Jazz Living. Overcoming obstacles, challenges with grace, ease, and joy. And I hope that all goes well because we are in this moment of the art of jazz. My story. Full transparency here. I admit to being a little afraid of fully embodying the goddess in me. Part of my hesitancy comes from the religious tradition I grew up with that glorifies the masculine and diminishes the feminine. In some contexts, it's heretical to imagine that the one masculine God could have a feminine side. Throughout history, good morning. Hello, thank you for acknowledging that I'm actually live because I wasn't positive. Throughout history, heretics have been brutally tortured and murdered for beliefs outside the established system. The residue of a patriarchal programming clings like plaque in my arteries and veins. It's a little scary to share views beyond the dominant paradigm, but I tend to push the boundaries. The one God of all people, whatever name you give divine love, has many facets, expressions, and religions. Multiple gods and goddesses represent aspects of the one God of all creation. I use a deck of goddess cards for divination, for clarity. Each goddess card represents an aspect of the one that's helpful to examine more deeply when she shows up. I brought my deck of goddess cards along when I visited my father as he became first ill. Holding the cards to my heart, I prayed, Divine love, I align with the highest good. I request a goddess to help clarify the situation. Closing my eyes, I drew the card of Kali, the goddess of endings and new beginnings. I understood that my father was dying, and this was the beginning of the end. Thank you, divine love expressed as Kali in this moment. My dear father's health continued to decline until he died a year later. Knowing it was the beginning of the end helped me prepare so I could better serve my family during the transition. On the one hand, I feel whole as I embrace the feminine yin aspects as well as the masculine yang aspects of the one God. On the other hand, my personality resonates more easily with the expansive yang energy of growing, expressing, and giving. I thrive during the waxing full moon. I often feel uncomfortable during the waning moon phase as the moon's light decreases. I often resist the contractive yin energy of allowing, grieving, and receiving. What do you resonate with more easily? Expansion, expression, and giving? Or contraction, listening, and receiving? Maybe you flow easily between the two expressions. Let's take a deeper look at the sacred marriage of divine feminine and divine masculine energy. Either or versus both and. Humans experience life through duality and contrast, masculine, feminine, giving, receiving, light, dark, exhale, inhale, expressing, listening. I don't like this. I do like that. The viewpoint of duality is the three-dimensional world of either or. We also live in a quantum world of both and. Quantum physicists have proven energy can exist simultaneously as a wave and a particle. Our attention influences the energetic expression. Those are mind-blowing concepts to our limited thinking. While we easily recognize that you or I can be both a spouse and a child, we might struggle to accept that two seemingly opposing viewpoints can both be true at the same time. One of my struggles with either or thinking is valuing one aspect of the divine over another. Historically, cultures have uplifted the masculine over the feminine, resulting in the oppression of women. I can get stuck thinking in limited human terms of victim-perpetrator consciousness. I hesitate to embrace the rise of the divine feminine if it means overpowering the divine masculine, because too many times in history, the victim has become the perpetrator. I notice this tendency in myself. When I'm aware, how often are we aware, right? When I'm aware, I notice how often I victimize myself or respond from victim mode. My husband asks, "Did you put away the X?" If I'm not mindful, I might interpret the question as criticism and step into victim consciousness. My interpretation, which might not be my husband's interpretation, goes like this. I feel criticized. I don't want to feel like a victim. I choose to feel powerful by criticizing you. So I shoot back angrily and defiantly, "No, I'll get to it when I take care of Y and Z." I stepped unnecessarily into perpetrator mode, and the victim-perpetrator cycle continues. The old paradigm of power over others is the established way much of the world works, and the result of either-or thinking. The new paradigm of power with others includes the balance of masculine and feminine power, which starts within the individual, balancing masculine and feminine energy within themselves. Are you receiving as much as you're giving? Are you listening as much as you're expressing? Are you resting as much as you're rushing? Both and. Note to self. The sacred marriage of divine feminine and divine masculine is represented by the figure 8 infinity symbol, one flowing gracefully into the other. Where the two flows meet, the shared power births the divine child, the third path, better than either individual expression. And the third path lifts up and out of duality into an upward spiral of evolutionary expression, creativity, innovation, intuitive insight. One way to embrace the third path in oneself is through the art of jazz living. Following the third path and practicing the art of jazz living creates a sacred space where you can meet challenges with grace, ease, and joy. The art of jazz living is a concept I developed a couple of decades ago that grew naturally from my jazz cooking classes. Some people prefer the familiarity and consistency of following a classical music score or a cookbook recipe. Real life is more like jazz music. The blending of classical tones with Afro-Latin rhythms, with the spontaneity of improvisation. You might not have all the ingredients you want, so you get creative and improvise. Yep, sometimes life does get messy, and you have an epic fail. Mastery in the art of jazz living requires the vulnerability to fail and the moxie to succeed despite the challenges. I agree with Stephen McCraney's observation. The master has failed more times than the beginner has even tried. Practicing the art of jazz living with curiosity and lightheartedness gives us space to innovate and find new solutions. And the world could use some improv about now. I invite you to play with applying the principles of jazz living to your life and see what possibilities emerge. The tool, principles of jazz living. The 5 principles of jazz living come from principles of jazz music. They aren't the only principles of jazz, They aren't the only principles of jazz, and they're not exclusive to jazz music. These 5 principles, which cross religious, spiritual, and cultural traditions, can be useful in navigating the complexity of the current predicaments we face in America and in the world. Jazz music is a uniquely American contribution to the world music stage, and America is poised to make another unique contribution to the world stage by embracing a third path and beyond duality. The art of jazz living provides an inspirational, dynamic, and energetic tool for approaching life's challenges, one that may help the future of our grandchildren. Apply fresh principles to life. The art of jazz living includes skills of flexibility, adaptability, teamwork, listening, and emotional intelligence. Those are all attractive skills that can add value to many areas of life. Integrating the jazz living approach into your life can help you respond to the complex challenges of daily living with more graciousness and integrity of body, emotions, mind, and spirit. Spiritual principles of jazz living. 1. Find the rhythm. Keep a steady beat. Practice body awareness. 2. Find the inner flow. Connect to your natural state of inner well-being. 3. Listen for the groove. Let go and allow divine love to uplift you. 4. Individual voice. Shine when it's your turn. Improvise. Take a risk. And 5. Collaborate. Harmonize. Let others shine. The energy pattern flows downward, inward, upward, outward, and around. Imagine one of those days. You come back from a stressful meeting between the board of directors and volunteers. The kid hit a guardrail and dented the car. You realize your employer lied to you. The dog pooped on the carpet. You spilled salad dressing on the shirt you were planning to wear. Add 2 more items and you want to hide in the closet with a package of cookies and a bottle of wine. You have what it takes to handle the next crisis and get your groove back so you can navigate complexity and uncertainty from your place of centeredness and inner well-being. Try practicing these steps every day to build your inner spiritual core muscles. Thank you. Rhythm. Practice body awareness. When you're aware of your inner ecosystem, you can settle your sympathetic nervous system. You aren't stuck in a fight, flight, freeze, reactive stress response. Instead, you use your body awareness tools to stay grounded and present in the moment. Notice what's going on in your body. What emotions are present? Where in your body are you feeling an emotion? Like I notice right here in my throat, I often feel it. Or maybe in your tummy. Find 10 minutes to yourself. Put on music and move. Fast or slow, just move your body. If you only have 5 minutes in a bathroom stall, that's a start. Breathe into your belly. If you can get outside in nature, hug a tree, breathe fresh air, take a walk or run, hug your fur baby. Do a yoga video on YouTube. My daily practice of yoga, weightlifting, and body-soul movement keeps me feeling grounded and anchored in my body. How do you find your rhythm and grounding? 2. Reconnect. Toggle inward to awareness of the divine within you as you toggle between 2 computer screens. You might use breath work, prayer, meditation, guided imagery, or whatever works for you to reconnect to your creative inner wisdom. The divine is both outside of you and within you. Imagine breathing through your heart as if you have a nose in the center of your chest. Find something beautiful or something you appreciate. And imagine that behind your physical heart, in front of your spine, you can step through a doorway inward to your soul, and through soul into the loving embrace of God the Infinite, divine love, whatever name you give the transcendent. And pause a moment to get out of your head into your heart when you're at a stoplight, in a meeting, at a soccer game. Toggle from your head to your heart and inward to your natural state of inner well-being. You can find a guided meditation to reconnect to your natural state of inner well-being on my Wellness Universe profile page, which is down below in the description. 3. Listen for the groove. Listen to your heart's wisdom for inspiration. Feel into the upward spiral and be carried on your breath. Inward, upward, outward, downward, around. Where do you find your groove? Exercise, cooking, gardening, nature, artistic expression, prayer, meditation. Some meditation disciplines refer to an inner smile, an upturn of your inner energy. Reconnecting to my inner well-being when I'm off track feels like an updraft, as if a breeze has lifted a leaf into the air. I allow myself to ride that feeling of being uplifted and carried on the wings of love. Imagine how you feel hearing your favorite song. Don't get wrapped up in your mind trying to figure it out. The groove is in your heart, not your mind. Tap into your intuition by opening your heart. Try an inner smile, even a little one. There are appropriate times to embrace sadness. Singing the blues is part of the human condition. Process the feelings and then allow the feelings, the energy to keep moving through without getting stuck and entangled. You don't need to disconnect from divine love. Connect inward and listen with the ears of your heart for the next right steps. What's the feel, the essence of what you want to create? Experience harmonious interactions with loved ones. Feel appreciated at your workplace. Feel radiant health and vitality. If you focus on the essence, let go of control, and allow the greater good to fill in the details, it might turn out better than you imagined. What inspiration wants to birth through you? 4. Shine your individual voice. When we're aligned with inspiration and our natural state of inner well-being, the music of our lives takes on magical qualities. Take a risk and improvise to make something fresh and generative in the moment. One day I walked into a new client's room to offer a 15-minute massage and energy healing. "What do you need today?" I asked the back of her head as she lay face down on the massage table. "I have a migraine and everything hurts," she replied. I placed my hands, and note to everybody, I've noticed that so many times that people have a migraine. I placed my hands on the back of her head between her shoulder blades, and her energy felt chaotic. I worked to smooth out the energy field while massaging her frizzled head, neck, shoulder muscles. By the end of the session, her energy felt calmer and less chaotic. An intuitive clarity welled up in my heart and jumped from my heart out my mouth. "You have something bigger to do with your life," I shared. "Your container is way too small." Startled, she responded, "You're the third person to tell me that lately." I'd never met this woman. I only saw the back of her head. I couldn't identify her. Within 15 minutes, I'd read her energy, shared a valuable insight that confirmed the message that she needed to hear in the moment. I may have changed the trajectory of her life by sharing what welled up in my heart. Sometimes my intuitive hits surprise me, but I'm getting used to trusting them. Are you trusting your intuitive hits? Speak the truth in your heart with spiritual authority so others can be blessed. That doesn't mean dominating the conversation or hammering someone with your opinions. When improvisation becomes self-indulgent, it can become uninteresting and annoying. Can you listen with the ears of your heart to what the other person needs at the time? Ask your heart wisdom. What would love do? Share your interpretation in a way that adds beauty and harmony. Or not. Step forward with compassion and show up as the best you have to offer at that moment. Or not. Some days our best is better than other days. If what you offer doesn't land as you wished, step back, ground, reconnect inward, listen, and try again. Take space, make space. Notice when it's time to step back. and allow others to shine, and practice flowing between leadership and followership. 5. Collaborate. Jazz musicians perform at their peak when they're all in the groove or group flow. In jazz bands, the individual expressions blend and flow from one player to the other in a joyful and playful dance. Jazz living embraces the paradox of both and, individual expression aligning with the oneness of shared truth, creating a collective space of we. Imagine two overlapping circles. One circle is your space, one circle is my space. When the two circles overlap is a shared we space. When we bring curiosity to understand another's perspective into we space, we can come up with new innovative solutions. Different beliefs and perspectives can coexist harmoniously when supporting an individual's dignity, acceptance, and belonging. Have you had any experience of group flow when ideas clicked and the team worked together as a whole? Sports teams find the group groove and win championships. Work teams synergistically combine skill sets to manage stellar projects. Theatrical groups come together on opening night for magical performances. I was in a therapy group that bonded so well we hated to end the program. How can you maintain your own rhythm, flow, groove, and voice while allowing others to share their unique talents? Can you listen with curiosity for what you might learn from another perspective? Can you integrate your truth and another's truth for joint meaning-making of shared truth? Practicing the art of jazz living. The art of jazz living is a fusion of classical and improv, blending what you know with something new to handle challenges with the ingredients on hand. You don't always have the luxury of a 5-star retreat or a weekend cabin retreat to refresh and renew. How can you use what you have on hand to push the reset button? Start with a sacred marriage of divine feminine and divine masculine within yourself, that infinity symbol, the figure 8. Each of us, is part of the divine unfolding, evolving through our unique expressions. What will divine love express through you? An intuitive insight, creativity, beauty, harmony, freedom, a fresh perspective. Give yourself sacred time and space to get grounded and be present with what is. Note the missing ingredients and acknowledge the ingredients you have on hand with gratitude. Tune inward to your natural state of inner well-being for guidance. Listen for inspiration. Take space to shine and make space for others to shine. Bend the notes, blend the flavors. Find the flow of what wants to be expressed uniquely through you. The essence of jazz living is to play the song in your heart with all you've got and allow the music of life to express through you. Thank you so much for listening. So that is the art of jazz living. I will be offering a program on the art of jazz living coming up in the first quarter of the year. You can check out the Wellness Universe profile page or my website page for information about the upcoming program. And certainly if you want to connect with me and talk about jazz living, or talk about your response to the chapter, response to the book, I would love to connect with you. You can find me on Facebook, on LinkedIn, again, the link's in the description. Have a blessed rest of the day. Thank you so much. It's delightful to have you in my life. I appreciate having you in my life. You're fabulous. Have a blessed rest of the day. Bye-bye.